Ghost of Tsushima has finally been released, and while it had a little bit of bad press due to some of Sony's odd decisions, it's still extremely exciting to see come to PC. The game is easily one of my favorite PlayStation exclusives that I've played, and getting to explore it again is honestly really exciting. This also means we get to play it on the Steam Deck, and with Nixie/PlayStation confirming it will run, despite not having multiplayer access, I'm sure it would be great due to Nixie software porting it. And I'm happy to say I was right, for the most part. So join us as we go over a first look and get some impressions on how Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut is running on the Steam Deck. If you guys enjoy this kind of video, hit that like and subscribe button, and hit that notification bell if you want to be notified whenever we upload a video. Just a quick note, this is a first impression. We will have a full review once we've beaten the game that includes multiple combinations of different settings, but for this video, we wanted to just take a quick look at the first couple hours of gameplay and see how it's going to possibly perform on the Steam Deck. Some footage may appear to be at a lower frame rate when recording. This is due to it using some resources to record the device since we did it natively. So we have gone back and tested and made sure that all the footage, all the gameplay does run at a faster frame rate when we weren't recording, and it's stuck to around 40 frames per second. After playing through the prologue and some heavier moments in the beginning of the game, I'm confident that 30 frames per second is possible throughout the entire experience on the Steam Deck. The cutscenes are harder to run, and I did experience some drops regardless of the settings, but it was still of very good quality and the frame rate picked right back up once the cutscene finished. On top of that, 40 frames per second actually seems to be possible from what we've seen so far. Using low quality settings with FSR 3 and a dynamic resolution scale set at 60, we have an almost completely solid 40 frames per second that only dropped coming out of cutscenes. Some cutscenes are rendered at a higher quality, and the game will keep that quality once it is ended. This can be fixed by looking at the ground or the sky, which will boost up the frame rate since it's not looking at a bunch of models. Once the frame rate returns to 40, it will stay that way until the next cutscene where it might cause it again. Playing at 40 frames per second is my favorite way to play so far. It feels fantastic, it feels smooth, it feels solid, and with the dynamic resolution scale set at 60, there doesn't really seem to be much quality change in visuals. I even checked the low versus medium graphics, and they don't really make a huge impact overall. Some cutscenes may look a bit blurry in the background, but that's only when the background isn't important to the rest of the scene. I also noticed that when it comes to upscalers, FSR 3 does get slightly better performance than XeSS 1.3, and it looks a bit sharper, which I found really worked on the Steam Deck. All of this put together leaves me very confident that Ghost of Tsushima will be wonderful to play throughout the entire game on the Steam Deck, but there are a couple little quirks that I noticed when I was tinkering around with it. First, we have the controller configuration. Usually when I'm reviewing a game, I will map one of the back buttons to take a screenshot to make it easier for me to get the screenshots for my review. Unfortunately, I did this for Ghost of Tsushima and it stopped all my inputs from working, and I was a little bit concerned at first. But it turns out that the game will only recognize inputs that are coming from one of Sucker Punch's configurations, or more specifically, their actions from the Game Action tab. So, if you want to make your own custom configuration, you're going to have to go through that tab. So if you want to make the A button into jump or you want to change it to firing, you can do that, but you can only do it from this Game Action tab, which I found a little bit confusing. It might also make things a little bit harder if you really want to go in depth and make virtual menus, which I don't see why anyone would for this game specifically, but it's still a little odd. The other thing is text size. The settings menu text is very small, and it is small enough to the point where I actually did move closer to my Steam Deck to make sure I could read what I was changing. The subtitles in the game are also very small, and again, same thing, I had to move my head closer to the Steam Deck to actually read. There is an option in the Accessibilities tab that can give you larger subtitles, and that is significantly better on the Steam Deck, but it doesn't change the settings menu text. So if you're going to be changing the settings to match what we have and test out and get 40 frames per second, you're going to have to put your Steam Deck very close to your face. One last thing I wanted to text is how the game performs in SteamOS 3.5 and 3.6. I did this because SteamOS 3.6's update actually includes a driver update for the Mesa, or the video driver, which does include performance improvements all throughout. Though, in my testing, it didn't seem like there was any difference. If anything, there might be 1 frame per second better using 3.6 over 3.5, but it was nothing noticeable where I would say, yeah, go to the preview branch and play it that way. So, with all that in mind, we come to the age-old question. Would I recommend this game on the Steam Deck right now? And honestly, I think I would. The game performs significantly better than I would expect, and while I have a lot of faith in Nixie software and the games that they port over, it's still really nice to see how well this is performing. Even if there's some minor drops here and there, the settings we provided will definitely give you 30 frames per second throughout the entire game, and it should give you 40 frames per second throughout most of the game. Other than the cutscenes, it stayed very stable where it needed to be stable, which was most of the fights. I am so happy to see Ghost of Tsushima performing so well, especially after the bad press that it got from Sony delisting it from multiple different countries and from the multiplayer not working on the Steam Deck. I really hope the rest of the game can stick to these frame rates, because if so, I would consider this an essential to have in your library. Ghost of Tsushima is now available on Steam for $59.99. But if you want to save some money, you can go over to Fanatical and get it there for $49.79 using the coupon code OMEN17. We're going to have a link down in the description, and it will be an affiliate link, so if you would like to support us, please go ahead and use that link, and thank you. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you can be notified whenever we upload a new video. You can also check out the written version of this video on our website, where we also have our game reviews, other news, and some guides that we've been working on, like getting Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time running on the Steam Deck with their native PC ports. We also have the SDHQ Podcast, so if you want to listen to some good conversation with great co-hosts like Fan the Deck and CryoBite33, you can watch and listen to it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.